Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse. And today I want to talk about network because I have gotten another package from Unky Joe that we're going to be going into in just a little bit. And I also have this 10 gigabit switch, which the box is right there for. And yeah, I want to put that into production very soon. But I'm not a network kind of guy, so I might want to ask your help on this one, because I'm not entirely sure if what I'm thinking can be done, and if I will be able to do it with this device that I got here. Let me just try and explain what I'm thinking here. So I have been making a drawing, so we have something to talk about. Just want to show you this cool pin. It lights up. I like that. I have 2 racks of servers out in my data center, and I would like to have, I would like to keep 1 rack of servers to myself, and then I would like to have someone else be able to access the other rack of servers with two different external IP numbers. So more or less, this rack would not be able to see this rack. There's a lot of servers here. Let's just say that. And also over here. It might not be configured this way, but for the purpose of this making sense, it would be nice to just say one rack is one external IP number and the other rack is another external IP number. And up here I have my ISP, and I get my internet through wireless connection. It's not good, it's pretty stable. I get a 30 megabit connection. It's ridiculous, and it's way overpriced, but that's another thing. So I get that. They have a tower out in the distance, and I have an antenna on my house, on the top of my house, my PlayHouse, right? So from that antenna there's a wire. There is actually a computer up in this antenna, kind of a router thing, but the ISP has opened this up entirely, so it's passing everything through except one port. I think one port is not being passed through. I believe that's the port 8080. Yeah, not sure if that's important in any way. So that wire goes down into my data center. It doesn't leave the house as I'm drawing it here. It just goes into my data center. And in my data center, it goes into a switch. And from that switch, it goes over to a Lenovo X3650 Model 3 server, I think. And there it's routed to all the other systems. And I made another drawing just to clarify that a little bit, hopefully. I am so creative, I know. So we have the internet up here, and that comes from the ISP. I have 2 static external IP numbers available for me. That comes into my antenna and is passed right through, and it goes over to a switch. And on that switch I have made a little area that is a VLAN, so these number of ports are not connected to the rest of the switch. So they have it's kind of a little deserted island on the switch where they're not able to see anything outside, and outside is not able to go see them. So it's a closed area. I could as well have gone out and bought the cheapest stupid little switch available, but yeah, you don't want that tiny junk laying around in your data center. So, and the switch do this VLAN thing, so that was the option that I went with. So the idea is that the internet connection goes in on one of these ports, and then I have 2 ports, and each of these ports can go down to, in this case, that's a server, and it's a Lenovo X3650, M3. And on that I have VMware installed, and on VMware I have a virtual appliance of pfSense. So the server has one network card that is only for the internet, that one. So the pfSense will get that connection, and it will route that connection out to the rest of my network. So one wire is going in from external, and then that is routed to be internal, and it goes out to my switches, and those switches are connected to my multiple servers. Choo 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 choo. There, and that is all good. I can do the same thing with this connector up here. We could put that to the other rack, and have a little box at the top here, with two network ports, and that could route the other IP, one IP. So the two external IP numbers would have each a rack. I have actually had this working, but I didn't really like the solution, so we never got any further with it. Yeah, let's go into the box and see what I've got, and maybe you can help me if what I'm thinking is possible. So Unky Joe from Unky Joe's PlayHouse is very helpful when I have something that I need in the US, especially these Amazon packages. As you might have noticed, I have a lot of Amazon affiliate links in the description of my videos, and if you go and use my links, which I think you should do, I get a few bucks out of that, and that makes me able to buy awesome stuff. Mostly it's awesome, like this one. And Unky Joe at Unky Joe's PlayHouse is very helpful. I use his address and have the things shipped to him, and he passes it on to me. Even though it's bloody expensive to have this shipped to Denmark, this one is actually the first one that went around and I didn't have to pay import tax for it. So thank you very much, PostNord, which is the post office here in Denmark at the moment. It's going bankrupt. It's not good. Nobody is sending normal mail anymore, so they're not doing too great. And everybody is buying from China, so well, they have all the trouble of delivering the packages from China and elsewhere, and we don't ship anything because it's so bloody expensive. This is expensive too, but I would pay more sending this the other way. So what did Joe send me? He actually sent me a gift this time. I didn't pay for this. I was talking to Unky Joe about this 16-port switch that I showed you. It's right over there. And he said that, oh, if you're getting that, you really need this. Okay. So, well, I didn't go and buy it right away. And then suddenly he said that, oh, he wanted to give this to me. So, okay. So we are gonna have a good look at that. I also got something. I did buy this myself because I needed this. This is just gonna be a quick view. It's a wireless access point. But it's not just a wireless access point, it's a Ubiquiti wireless access point. It is connected through power over Ethernet. So you put in your 1 gigabit connection to your switch and some power through an injector, or if you have a switch that can handle that, that will do fine as well. And then you have a wireless network. But in the bottom of the thing, it also has two network connections. So it's a tiny, let's call it a micro switch and wireless access point. And I thought this was so cool because I'm redoing my living room and I was looking on how to connect my computer to the network in the living room, and I thought this was pretty cool. So we're gonna be doing an entire video on that when I get to that. So what is this? This is UniFi Security Gateway. Enterprise Gateway router with gigabit Ethernet. Awesome. Ubiquity network. Cool. It's a box. It's a boxy box. So I don't know. Yeah, let's open this up. It's a box and it has 4 plugs. At least 4 plugs. I have had this out of the box There are multiple videos. Unky Joe did a really good video on it. I have also been watching videos on this on other channels. The really funny thing is that this is metal. You don't get that very often, so that's a cool little feature. It has the usual Ubiquity quick start guide. It has the usual American power plug, which I'm not gonna be able to use because we don't use that plug. But yeah, it's there, and it has a tiny little power supply. This is it's small, so this is 12 volt 1 amp, so it doesn't take much power. I saw in another video that someone asked if this would run over power over Ethernet. I don't think it does, but I do think it could do that if Ubiquiti had made it so that it could do that, because 12 volt 1 amp is 12 watts, and if you have like the power over Ethernet is often 48 volts, so you don't need much amperage to go through the cable. Actually, you just need a third of the amperage. That would be 250 milliamps to go through the Ethernet cable to power this, so that would be cool. But this is a router. It's more or less, it's just a router. Only thing that is really cool about this is the Ubiquiti software for it, which is awesome. So this router, it has a WAN connection, so you connect your internet to that one, and you have either one LAN connector or two LAN connector or two WAN connectors, so there should be different options here. I am very curious if I will be able to connect this to my drawing here instead of this switch up here, and instead of the router, this router here, and the router that I'm gonna put up there, if I could put this in, put my internet connection in here, and have my routed internal network come out of this one for one rack, and the routed internet connection coming out of the network of this LAN 2 for the other rack. The internet coming in here would be that one, and then this one would go here, and that one would go there, and with routing each an external IP number to one IP over here and one IP over there. I have no idea if that's doable. So I would really, if you know anything about this, that would be awesome to know if this device can do that. I have seen a video with someone taking this apart. I'm not gonna do that. It's just a circuit board on the bottom. The data for it is stored on a little USB drive in here that has its own socket, but it's a really dull PCB on the bottom of this case. I forgot to mention this port. That's a serial connector, console port for accessing the box through serial connector, and there's a reset button. Otherwise there is only the power connector. And so why is this router special? Well, it's actually not. It's just a router, but the software that comes with the router and is used for this router makes it a whole lot easier for you to be a network administrator, because you can tell this router, you can set up your VLANs. I'm not sure if it's virtualization of this, but it makes it very easy. If you install the software, there is two. There is the controller, or there is the manager. The manager is a new thing. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm guessing that that's gonna be taking over for the controller at some point of time, but I'm not sure about that. But right now it's the controller from Ubiquiti UniFi, and in that controller you could set up a guest network, and you could give that a VLAN. You could say my guest network is VLAN 10, right? You tell it that, and then you set up your company, what would that be? Not manage, production. And that would be VLAN 5. Let's say you have a management network as well, and that would be VLAN 15. You could just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be great. I'm just playing with this. You could also let's have you also have iSCSI. That would be VLAN 20. So now you go in here and you say, I want these VLANs, and you only do it here, and that is filtered through all your devices. This is a switch. Let's say that it's a backbone switch. It could be this 16 port 10 gigabit Ethernet backbone switch, right? You have connected this to your little Ubiquiti box, so that is filtered down to this 8-port switch. And this could be a 48 port. Right. And we have two wireless. So this one is the one that I just got from Sasha. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. But that's an APAC. Or it could be a newer one. I have one of those. You know those, the new ones, the good ones. That one. So by setting up these VLANs up here, when I configure this access point, let's say this is my guest access point, well, I just tell that, well, you go on VLAN 10, or I would have some alias. The alias could be guest. So this access point goes to guest. That's just VLAN 10, right? And I would not have to configure that because I have configured that up here. I know what IP number and DHCP IP numbers will be delivered in VLAN 10, and that one and the access point down here, well, I just have to select that it goes into VLAN 10. Over here we have our production VLAN. I'm getting lazy, so product, and that is a VLAN 5. And it's as easy. You just go into this device and say, well, use the pre-configured VLAN of 5 that we made up here, and then that will have access to all the servers. There is servers connected. Let's see, this one, that goes to a rack. That one goes to one server where the internal, that's a web server. That's where all the company advertising is on this server. And this web server, it's okay for the guest VLAN to see that. So I could give this access point access to that server, but not access to everything else, just by also forwarding VLAN 10 to this one. I hope. That's what I'm thinking. This one is full of servers, and that is on VLAN 5. It's not very good in view. Why didn't you say anything? So that's what makes this Ubiquiti gateway really smart. Plus it has a lot of features with picking up data, showing you what your data is being used for, who is downloading the most porn from the internet. You want to know that because you don't have to, then you can just go there and get your copy, right? So I want to be putting this in the data center together with the 10 gigabit switch. Okay, so in my data center, my internet connection is coming in here, and that has a power over Ethernet injector on it because the thing on the roof is powered from down here. So right now it's going up into this Cisco switch, which anyone with a little bit of network knowledge will know that is a very good switch, and will be not understanding why I'm changing this, because it's a good switch. And over here is that little closed off VLAN area. There is not actually a physical cable going out to the other rack, only one going over to the first rack, because the VLAN works internally in the switch, so that connection can go out anywhere. For the time being, I'm just gonna move the internet connection down into the server that is routing it, and that will be this connector. So I'll just have the internet connector go in here, and I will have internet while I'm doing this. Okay, so I move that down here, and it's now going straight into the server. The box on the roof, it takes a little bit to boot, so it will probably be a little bit before my internet is packed, but I'll go check on it. Okay, just checked on it, and it is working. I like this. I like to see that my videos are being watched. That's nice. I did also want to show you this internal network addresses that is reserved for use on your network. So you have this 24-bit block, which is everything starting with 10. That's a class A network, single class A network. That's a big chunk of IP numbers. Then there is a 20-bit block, that one, and that's everything from this address to this address. That is a class B network. And then we have a class C network, which is a 16-bit block, that one, and that is from this address, oh there we are, to this address. Everything 192.168.0.0 to, well, that one. And that's the number of IP numbers are here. So if I use a class A, I have 16,777,216 internal IP numbers. If it's a B network, I have just over 1 million. And if it's a C class network, I have 65,536. That's important to note as well. You should try and stay within those. Okay, I have mounted the 10 gigabit switch. I have powered it on, and I've connected it to a cable down to my, this is a Linksys SRW 2048, and I'm retiring this one as soon as possible. It's beginning to be buggy. So I have actually ordered a Ubiquiti 48 ports with two 10 gigabit ports on it. Not power over Ethernet, because that was a bit too expensive, I thought. So yeah, let's go see if the computer sees this. So I have opened up this Ubiquiti UniFi controller, and I'm on version 5.6.30. The wireless access point that I was playing with in an earlier video, right now that is red because well, I have had that unplugged. I have just gone and plugged it in. So let's see if we can refresh this by pressing F5. We could not. Okay, so let's go to settings, and there is some where we need to put in the reset. Enable a refresh button. I'll find that. Okay, I found it. It's under admin over here and preferences, and there is enable refresh button. If you press that and save and close, there's a little refresh button up here. So let's try and press that. See that did absolutely nothing for us. Interesting. I'll go see if that access point is up and running. There we are. It always helps if you add power to something. I had disconnected it, and then I just connected it to show you that the access point was working, and I didn't check if there was any power on it. And just now I went and I couldn't figure out why that power over Ethernet injector wasn't working, until I realized that I dropped it on the floor in the previous video. So I was just about to send it in on a guarantee repair, when I also realized that I had cut the power to that outlet, because my microphone picks up some weird electric noises from over there. So now it's picking that up. It's not picking up the switch out there. That should also pop up and wanting to be adopted. So I think we'll go and try and reset that switch. Someone added in my previous video that I really should read the manual, so we're just gonna have a look at that reset button. And it seems that restore to factory default, I have to press the switch for more than 5 seconds on this one. On the access point it was more than 10 seconds. So yeah, cool, we'll do that. Okay, it's never as easy as it is on TV. That took a little bit of mingling around with. I found out that, well, even though I had opened a lot of ports for this UniFi controller in Windows thingy here, that one, well, I haven't opened enough, so I had just had to go in here and shut down the firewall. And in the meanwhile, it's updating Windows updates. So I am beginning to think that all the people that says that this runs really well on Linux, well, you might be onto something, because this is already a drag. We might go that way, but well, this works very well, but it's probably a lot more work than it needs to be. So over here, it finally popped up, and it got an IP number. And I actually went in and checked on my DHCP server, this old trusty bastard, and found that, well, there was something that popped up, and that was a Ubiquity switch. So cool, we can close that. Yes, don't need you right now. So I'm gonna be adopting this, my switch, 10 Ubiquity 10 gigabit. That's gonna be my backbone switch. So we'll adopt that. Adopting. What can we do? We have the switch here. It doesn't tell us much right now. It's provisioning here, so it's figuring out the network. I don't have very much on my network, so there is not a lot to figure out. But well, that will be working. So when this is up and running, I could actually just as easily go out there and put in the Ubiquity security gateway, and we could import that as well. Okay, so again, everything else is easier on TV, because the power supply that came with the little USG, well, it has these little Mickey Mouse connectors. So I actually used this USA plug thing that Unky Joe sent me, because, well, I could make a new cable out of that, a little converter. So this one will go into the power supply, and this one will be the usual data center plugs that you have in every data center. So it actually worked out. Okay, it helped quite a lot to get some power on that as well. And right now it has the IP number 192.168.1.1, and that is conflicting with my pfSense router, so we need to change that ASAP. So we need to adopt that before we can do anything. Adopt. Adopting. Okay, close that. Waiting for the adoption. Adoption failed, probably because of the conflict. It's trying again. It's failed. How do I do that? I could shut down my router for a second. So we will shut down the pfSense router. I don't like that much, but action, power, down, guest OS. Yes. Okay, even though it did shut down my router, even though I was locked out. So let's see what it does now. A little bit more explanation would have been nice. So I found that if I press this, I get a setup page for the UniFi gateway. So I can change the IP number of it here by editing configuration and giving it a static IP. So we will give it something, and I'll get this up and running again. Okay, I'm just giving it something. Oh, and that's not gonna work. That's better. And of course it needs the internet to get out of there. Okay, it's never as easy as on TV. So right now I have it in my network now, and right now it changed IP number again. What is it doing? I'll have to blur that out. I had to give it the internet connection to get to here. So right now it's routing the internet into my network. So now I should be able to tell it to have another IP number instead of having that one. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that deserted island on this switch, the 10 gigabit switch. I shouldn't do that. It's a waste of ports. I'm gonna move it as soon as I get a new switch, but I'm gonna have that deserted island on there and just have the 2 network connections come in there. 3 network connections it might be, I don't know, but yeah, like on the drawing. Down here is settings. So we go into settings and we go over to networks, and in here I have a network. It's the standard network. I didn't create that one, it was just there. So we're gonna be creating a new network, and we're gonna call this something brilliant, like it's on the outside, and it's gonna be a VLAN only. Only servers and devices in that VLAN will be able to talk to each other. They will not be able to talk to anybody else, and we have to give it a VLAN number. So outside, which number should that have? VLAN 10 is outside. We're not gonna give it anything. Save. There. So we have this VLAN only site where nothing can talk. And we're gonna go to the switch, and we're gonna assign that VLAN to a couple of ports so I can get this up and running like it was before. So how do we do that? We go here. Let's see if we don't go to the switch and take a couple of ports. I think this port looks nice. So if we take port 6, those 2, and it is selected, or we can just select outside there, and we can call it okay, did I spell that wrong? Apply. Okay, right now they're called the same thing. It might be cooler for me to actually give them a name like the internet connection and internet for rack 1, and then this could be internet for rack 2. Might as well take number 14 while we are at it. Let's take 16 outside. Yeah, 5. I'm going to take this one. Outside. So now I should be able to put my internet connection in here, this connector to put it over at my pfSense, and this connector to put it over to the USG. But before I do that, I have to change the IP number of the USG because this is absolutely ridiculously. I'm gonna see if I can find where that is. Okay, this is of course working like a charm, and I am of course lying because I started this 6 hours and 4 minutes ago, and I have run into all kind of problems with well, my setup and my switches and stuff. One of them I'm sitting with right here. This is the cable that came from the Wi-Fi thing on the roof, and it's quite a long cable, and this was the amount of extra that I had laying around outside, and well, I found out that I had to shorten that, and I'll bring you closer to the computer and show you why. So here is my Ubiquiti controller at the moment, and I have renamed the backbone switch. So if we go to that, we can see that I have these 4 ports, and if we press one of them, well, we come down to some port things there, and right now the internet is coming in on port number 16 down here, over there, and I was not able to connect that. I could put in the plug and it would just say not connected, and there was nothing I could do about it. I also tried to plug it in some of the SFP pluses. I have some of those converters that will convert it down to a 1 gigabit copper connection. which I'm actually using in number 11 and number 12 right now. That didn't work. I had it up and running when I plugged the cable directly into the USG. So I knew that the internet connection was working, but I also knew that I had this 8 meters of extra cable laying outside. So we had some trouble when I got the internet connection in the first place. I shortened my internet cable by 8 meters and boom, it was there, no trouble whatsoever. So that was kind of cool. But I do have a problem up here, because now the USG has failed adoption. And you can see that it says here that it has this IP number, but if we go over here to network, it's actually in this VLAN right now, 192, well, 10.1. It's working there, so it's working as I want it to, but as that is in one VLAN and the other devices is in another VLAN, I haven't got that connection to have them speak to each other and have the USG connect in here, and so the management thing is not perfect yet, but actually the system is working and I do have internet connection here. There, I have also been replying to comments because the Wednesday video came out just a few hours ago. It is kind of cool. It's a lot of stuff to figure out at once. This is the SFPs that converts fiber optics to copper cable, so that will work. I have had my computer on here. I think it has went to sleep, so okay, I'll log in here. I have that connected to the rack 2. That's the USG right now, and it is replying, so that is working. It's just not able to see the management interface. So I have located it up here at the top. It's sitting right there, and behind that is the switch. And right now I have 3 cables in it. I was trying to see if I could use the LAN 2 connector to connect to the other, but as I can't go in and configure the device, that's a bit hard, so I could as well take that out again, just not to clutter that up. So here is the switch, cables all over the place. I have been playing with this for hours, as I said. So, and this is their injector, and the now shorter internet cable going out of that. So the first 2 Ubiquiti products has gone into production here at my PlayHouse. The wireless access point is, well, it's sitting in the window. I haven't tried to connect to it yet, so I actually don't know if it works, but why shouldn't it? It would be awesome if someone could tell me how I can talk to this USG, even though it's on another VLAN. It is connected to the switch that has access. Is there some stupid check mark that I have to set that it's allow it to communicate over, I don't know? Leave it in the comments below, please. And I will again use this opportunity to send Uncle Joe a nice little shout out. Thank you for sending me this UniFi security gateway. I really need another one now for the other rack, don't I? But I have PF-sense on that. Well, we'll see how this develops, but I'm up and running with. It's a real shame to use these good 10 gigabit ports for something as stupid as bringing the internet down. I will be moving this to another Ubiquiti switch as soon as it drops in. So thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again, and have a really nice day. Bye bye.